doing color work, and this is very interesting. You need to have a design and put it on graph paper so you can see it better. So you can find a whole bunch of designs, either make your own, or you can find them on Pinterest or in places like cross stitch magazines and places like that. So once you have your pattern, you need to put it in graph paper, and then you need to see how many stitches you have between the repetitions. So here I have the start of one and the start of the next, and I can see that I have 8 stitches that repeat. So I am signaling that because that is important to know for when you cast on your stitches. Now, of course, it's different to knit in the round like this than to knit back and forth. So we're going to knit in the round this time, and I casted on 112 stitches, which is a multiple of 8. Very important to know that. So now I casted on my 112 stitches, and I knitted 8 rows of knit to purl to ribbing. Okay, so I have my chart and I have a ruler here to guide me to see in which lane I'm at. So here I see that this is going to be called the main color, and this vanilla is going to be considered the contrasting color. So main color is written MC, contrasting color is written CC. Okay, so now I see in my chart that I am going to be knitting 1 of the blue, and now I start with my contrasting color, and I am going to do 2. I leave a long tail because like that I can weave it in, and I do 2 of the vanilla color. So now you can see that you need to have those 2 strands held together. You can hold them with your right hand, one on each finger if that's the way you knit. So you work with your 2 fingers on your right hand. If you knit continental, you can hold the 2 strands on your left finger. And if the way that I like to do it is to hold 1 on each hand, so like that. So now I'm going to be working 3 of the blue, so I work 1, 2, 3, and 2 of the vanilla, and I work 1 and 2. So now I will start my repetition, and I have 1 blue, 2 vanilla, 3 blue, 2 vanilla, and that is, I finished 2 repetitions now, and you see how it is easy that even if you don't knit continental, it is very easy when you have the yarn on your 2 hands, because you just alternate. So this is very nice when you're working in the round, that you don't have to change stitches. So this is nice. So let's repeat that. We're going to do 1 blue and 2 vanilla, and 3 blue, and 2 vanilla, and you go around like that until you get to your starting point, Okay, so I finished my first round and I'm going toward the second one, and I put my ruler up and I can see that I have 2 of the white, 2 of the dark, 1 of the white, 2 of the dark, and 1 of the white. So that is going to be my repetition. So what I have is my yarn on each hand, and I will do 2 of the white. That needs to be tightened later because that's the tail from the first stitch that I knitted. And then I have 2 of the dark and 1 of the white or vanilla, and 2, let me get these in here a little, and 2 of the dark and 1 of the vanilla. And that is my repetition. I have my 8 stitches here, 2, 4, 6, 8. Now I'm going to repeat that, and I will do, let me get some here, I will do 2 of the vanilla, 2 of the blue, 1 of the vanilla, 2 of the blue, and 1 of the vanilla. So let's do that again, just to make sure that you see how I'm doing it, because this is a lot of fun. Each row is different, so that's nice. So I have 2 of the vanilla, 2 of the vanilla, 2 of the blue, 1 vanilla, 2 blue, and 1 vanilla. And you repeat that until you get to your round, and you do that following your pattern, moving your ruler up, and I will see you when I have a little bit more done. So once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. Because for example, on this pattern I have 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, and it's always like that. You just change colors and the sequence. So I have 1 blue, 2 white, 3 blue, 1, 2, 3, and of course if you anchor your yarn on both hands, it's easier. So now I have the 2 white and the 1 blue and the 2 white and the 3 blue and the 2 white. And see, it's just a matter of repetition. And it's very important also that the tension becomes the same, or mostly the same. It's about practice, so don't overwhelm yourself. You start knitting a small thing, like a small cowl, so you can learn how to do this. You can see in the back that the strands are not too loose and they are not too tight, so in the front you have the flexibility like a normal knitting. So that is also a matter of practice. So please go on with your knitting, and I will see you when I have a little bit more. But this is going to become very pretty. See, this is just one of thousands of designs. Okay, so I did as big as I wanted it, and I have 5 full figures, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you can do as many as you wish. Now I want to do the ribbing, like I have at the bottom. But of course you have to be aware. And then of course I cut my vanilla yarn off. And I'm just going to leave it there. I can weave it in later. So now I want to do knit to purl to ribbing, but the first row has to be only knit. And I'm going to show you why. If you did any purls on any of these, see, if you do a purl here, that space, that thing will show. See, and it doesn't look pretty at all. So what you want to do is knit the first row, only knit, and then start with your ribbing on the next round, knit 2, purl 2, and do your 6 rows or rounds of ribbing, and then bind off normally. Now let's talk about Intarsia, and it really doesn't have to be a figure in the middle of your work like a heart or something like that. You can have a geometrical design like this. You can have whatever you can change many times the colors, and I used to do like 8 changes within a few stitches. So this is really not difficult, and since you don't want the long strands from one side to the other like in Colorwork, you twist your yarn in the back every time you change colors. So that is, I'll show you how to do that, and of course you can create any kind of design. So for example, here we're going to do like a curve, and what you want to do with that is follow that design, and it's really not difficult to do that at all, and you can create your own. So this is very simple. Okay, so let's get to knitting this. I have 2 tips to show you. Every time you have a row, you can write down how many stitches you have on each section. For example, I am doing the section here, and I'll write down 6, 6, 3, 6, and 6. So I can follow 6, 6, 3, 6, and 6, and like that. It's much easier when you have them written down, and then you erase that and you follow the next row. So first I see that I need to have 3 balls or 3 bobbins of each color. I do not like the wraparound bobbins that they sell. I really dislike them. So what I do is that I take a strand of yarn, I leave a long tail there, and then I take my fingers and wrap it around my fingers like so. And I have much more yarn like this. So I wrap it around a few rounds, and then I turn and hold it. Put your finger there so the yarn doesn't stretch. And go around it a little more. And you can have as much yarn as you wish, like this. So let me show you. Maybe you want to have that being enough, and you cut that, and you put a rubber band around it. And now you can take your yarn from your bobbin and pull it from the inside. See? Next tip. It's a good idea to have your yarn in order of how you're knitting. So I have the first, you see, this is the order I'm knitting. So a lot of people get entangled, and this is the trick to do that. So you want to knit, and then when you purl, you turn this way, and purl. But then when you knit again, you turn your needle this way, and then your yarn is back in place. So no problem, that's another tip. Okay, so let's do this line. So this is knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we let go of that yarn and we pick up the blue or the darker yarn from the bottom of that one. So like that, they cross. So you pick up that one and you continue knitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Leave that blue one down and pick up the vanilla color from underneath that blue one. So they are crossing. So now I have 3, 1, 2, 3. Leave the vanilla and pick up the next blue from underneath the vanilla. That means under, so they cross. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Leave the blue and continue with the vanilla. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now on this row, according to my chart, of course I turned, and I am going to purl 1, 2, let me put this a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I am leaving my vanilla color in the front because all the crossings need to be in the wrong side. I pick up my dark blue, make sure they stay in order. So I pick up that blue and I will knit 6, purl 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, and 6. Okay, now I bring my blue yarn to the front and pick up the next strand and purl 1. Bring it to the front and purl 6 with the blue. You see how I'm crossing? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Leave my dark blue there and pick up the vanilla. And see how it's crossing? I'm putting my vanilla color under the last one that I worked with. So now I purl 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now, of course, according to my chart, the next row I will have 7, which are these. And then I have 13 stitches in the middle because I'm getting rid of that vanilla color. And then I have the 7. And you do the same, you just need to cut the vanilla color, leave a long tail so you can weave it in later. We get rid of that one and we continue knitting with the three colors only. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3. We're going to get rid of 2 colors because we don't need this one either, because this one is going to be attached. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I leave the vanilla, pick up the blue, and this is the one that I'm going to be using all the way to the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Leave the blue, pick up the vanilla, and that's it. You can put, add or take off as many stitches as you wish. And this is the way it looks in the front. Let me show you. And of course you can use stitches. You can use any kind of stitch anytime you want. But I'm just using the straight stitch now. So that you can adapt later. And this is the way it looks in the front. And then all the crossing stitches are in the back. Let me get this out of the way so you can see them. See, all of the crossings are in the back. And thank you for watching. Please share us with your friends and like our page and subscribe. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next time.